Okay, Stan, go.
And welcome into Press Box Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles, and normally when I do these sort of newsmaker sports Zooms, Gary Stein is my co-host. Unavailable today. We're doing a little bit of a different time, and our guest is my friend Danny Black from Baltimore Sports Collectibles. Danny, I'm going to join you in just a second as soon as I tell people about one of Baltimore's favorite places to dine, and that's Costas Inn, located at 4100 North Point Boulevard. Phone number 410-477-1975. But really what I'm going to talk to you about today is the way they have stepped up their curbside pickup, or as us old timers used to call it, takeout. You can actually go on your computer, your phone, your PC, your iPad, and go to CostasInn.com. That's CostasInn.com. CostasInn.com. You can order your food, you can pay for your food, you can tip your servers, and then you can pick it up and you don't even have to get out of your car. And that's whether it's steamed crabs, crab cakes, crab soup, steaks, salads, any of the other specials or things they have on their menu every night of the week. The Costas Inn is just a fabulous place. I've been dealing with the Costas family for very close to 30 years, and they are remarkable at living up to the name Costas Inn. Check them out. And again, curbside, CostasInn.com. Order your food, pay for it online, and then pick it up. Don't even have to get out of your car. All right, Danny, joining us now. Not danning us. Joining us now is Danny Black from Baltimore Sports Collectibles. How are you, Danny?
I am fantastic and very hungry now. That sounded delicious.
Have you been to the Costas Inn before?
Of course. Everybody knows. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. What's your favorite there? You like the crabs?
I mean, you got to. I don't,
okay. Yeah. They're awfully good. They're awfully tempting.
That's what you go there for. And I still enjoy the carry out, but I like eating in.
I understand. Hey, the World Series just ended. From a collectibles standpoint, did anybody like Pena, this Jeremy Pena or Dusty Baker or Justin Verlander getting a monkey off his back? Did their cards all of a sudden go up gigantically?
Well, let's start with Jeremy Pena. I mean, you could have bought his card at the beginning of the season, probably for whatever change you have in your pocket,
right?
And now his cards are going for a couple $100. I mean,
you're serious? They're going serious. For a couple $100
for specifically his Bowman Chrome rookie, but that's the one that people use anyway. So yeah, I mean, first it went up during the season because he played very well. He was the early favorite for Rookie of the Year, and then he goes and he wins MVP in the championship in the World Series.
So give me an idea, like in June when he was playing very well at the beginning of the season, did his card go from pennies on the dollar to $20, $15?
Oh no, it could have hit 100 mid-season easily.
Okay.
Yeah, to 200.
And now it's a couple $100.
Well, because the theory now is people feel more comfortable that he could be a projectable player, that he could have a future, that he's not going to be a bust of a prospect, and that's where the speculation is.
When the Dodgers traded Yordan Alvarez to the Astros for right-handed pitcher Josh Fields, I imagine Alvarez's car, and there's been rumors to the effect that the Dodgers had two Yordan Alvarez's, and they didn't know which one Houston was asking for. I don't know if I buy that or not, but the point is his card wasn't even on a radar screen when they traded him about 7 years ago to Houston. What's his card going for these days?
Well, I can tell you that people in the collectible market love Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah.
When anybody who's got the potential to be the top 5 hitter in the league, I mean, people want the best of the best. So yeah, his card, I mean, just continues to rise. I mean, he broke out originally. I think he had a little bit of a down period. Now he's back up again. And he's one of those guys, every time he comes into the batter's box, you think he could do damage. And I mean, his card just continues to go up. I think if he would have had a big World Series like Pena, it could have doubled or tripled even. But it's already high. And depending on which version you get, you're talking, anything from a couple hundred to well over thousands.
Okay, thousands. It's unbelievable. Is
Yeah.
that based on, and the same with Pena now, the escalating chances of him being a Hall of Famer?
Well, certainly the escalating chances of them not being a failure. I mean,
Yeah,
unfortunately, the failure rate for players is so high, and the amount of superstars is so low. You're just trying to pick those winners, and yeah, he's in that category where you say, hey, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, maybe Yordan Alvarez, in a year or two, he's in that class of guys, and that's what you're banking on.
does a manager's card ever go up by the performance? The fact that Dusty Baker will probably win American League Manager of the Year, I'm guessing.
It's funny. There's been very few great players or good players that were good or great managers. So
Yeah,
there's not a lot of history on this. I mean, Dusty Baker's cards were not worth a ton from his playing days. You think of Joe Torre, who had a decent career, but Ted Williams was not a good manager. Even Honus Wagner managed late in his career, but his playing cards are worth much more. So that's actually a great question. I'd be very curious to see if Dusty Baker's cards, his playing career cards, do anything after this. Maybe he's become more beloved, and there's going to be some
yeah.
value there with the story.
One other player in the World Series, Bryce Harper. He had a pretty darn good postseason this year. Now he's been on the radar screen of everybody, and I'm sure 4 years ago his cards were pretty highly ranked. Has there been, because of injuries and the fact he wasn't on a championship team there for a couple of years, or even a contender, had it diminished a little bit, and is he shooting back up?
Yeah, exactly. What his career did. Coming 12 years old or whatever he started in Sports Illustrated, people were waiting to buy his cards well before they came out, and he shot out of like a cannon. It was actually, I think, a lot of people were turned off to collect him because of his personality. To be frank with you,
Yeah,
Stan, and that affected value for a long time. This year, he seemed to turn the corner with the public. He he
yeah.
he he seemed to take that fire, diehard personality and look more like somebody who's got it focused on winning. And his value this year has gone right back up.
I'd agree. I think this year he ended up looking like a really good teammate, and I think he's happy. I think he made the right choice for himself. I think Philly's a great town for him. I think he feeds off of a Northeast real urban center. I don't know that the Dodgers or Padres would have been the right fit for him.
I also think he wanted to be the man to lead a rebuild.
Yeah,
And I think he takes a lot of pride in that. I think he's the type of guy who wants to play his whole career, the rest of his career there, and have a statue. And I think he wants to be that guy.
all right. How about the guy who was kind of co-equal with him when they both signed their big contract? Did Manny Machado do himself good this year out in San Diego, or is the bloom off the rose a little bit?
Well, Manny suffered from some of the same problems Bryce Harper did, from a
Not
national
like a,
standpoint.
not likable.
Yeah, that some of those run-ins he had when he was younger and with the Orioles, and some of the bad throwing, and he was not popular nationally.
Yeah.
This year, he's had a great year. He's been a good performer by all standards, but he's in a much smaller market. He does not get the East Coast time schedule for people to watch his games, and he flew a little bit under the radar as far as his personality. So he has not rebounded nearly as much as Bryce Harper, and that might also have to do with the Padres not going as far. But he's doing much better price wise than he was, but nowhere near what Harper's done.
Danny, I want to take a break from talking collectibles, like just asking you questions, to talk a little bit about your business, because that's our deal, is that you're going to do content for us and we're going to help you promote yourself. Tell folks that are watching this that don't know Danny Black from a hole in the wall, they will start to know you because you're much more handsome than a hole in the wall. Tell them a little bit about Baltimore Sports Collectibles and
Well,
what you're aiming to do.
no, I appreciate the opportunity, Stan. What I do is, if you've got something in the attic, something in the closet, in fact, these gloves over my shoulder were from one of my favorite clients. And if you've got stuff laying around you don't know what to do with, I can kind of help you with that, and I can help you dig through it and see if there's anything of value. And then nationally, I also do a lot of YouTube content creation. You'll find me doing podcasting commercials, and I speak nationally, and I consult with companies in the hobby industry. But locally, I write for Pressbox. I love doing these segments with you. And I spend a lot of time going through people's cards, and the older the better. I will tell you that. Anything before 1975, please call me quickly.
Are you about helping people maximize their value? Or are you there sort of going, oh boy, I can get this cheap, or you're there to help the client?
Yeah, I've taken a different approach, and I started as a dealer back in the 90s, working, I'll remember it at Owings Mills Mall, doing the card shows there and the VFW. And so I've seen both sides of the table. At this point, I like to help people because a lot of the people that have these things, they're not educated, they're not card people, and nor should they be.
Yep.
So I think my job is to help represent them, be stewards of the collection. And, we come and talk about a plan. Some people have different needs than others, some have different timelines, and that's what we sit down and talk about.
Can some of the stuff be just handled on a phone call or a Zoom rather than actually going into the person's house? Or do you always sort of aim to try and do that so you get a grasp of what's there?
First step is always pictures.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. The first step is I do need to see pictures, just to have a sense. And then depending on the item, if it's cards, it's one thing. If it's memorabilia, it's another thing. But we start with pictures, then there's usually a good phone call to talk about it, and then I'll head out, and I'll drive within a couple hours. So,
Okay.
I go anywhere you can hear my voice, I'll be there.
All right. Tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Yes, thank you. On the internet at Sports Balt, and that's short for Baltimore, sportsbalt.com. And if you're on social media anywhere, at Sports Balt, and that's at the bottom of the screen as well.
So
And of course,
sports,
call for, yeah,
so sportsvault.com is where they can reach you. Okay.
yep. And good old fashioned telephone, 410-497-7187. You can actually call or text pictures there as well.
All right. I'm being stupid, but should they put your name in front of at Sports Ball? Is it Danny Black at Sport? It's just
No, just at
sportsball.com.
Sports Balt, and you put that on Instagram, Twitter,
Okay.
Facebook, LinkedIn, and anything you can think of. I'm there. I also have a YouTube channel, and I do interviews with people all over the country. I had Dr. James Beckett. If you grew up with the Beckett Price Guide,
Sure.
I had him recently. So some good content there as well.
All right. Let's get back into talking a little baseball collectibles. We'll move on to a couple other topics, but baseball collectibles and cards. I always talk when I started collecting a little bit in the mid 90s, or was it the mid 80s? The mid 80s. I had a friend of mine says, I get a box of top cards, I get the box of top cards at the beginning of the year and then the traded series. So
Yep.
tops was always the thing. The name Tops now is not even around, right? It's Fanatics.
Well, Fanatics is now the parent company. They're going to stick with the Topps name just
Okay.
because it tends to. I think for people like you and me who grew up with
Okay.
that. But they are no longer an independent company. They are definitely owned by Fanatics, which is very much big business. Yeah.
Okay. Now, is that the sort of the market for cards, or you mentioned before Bowman? So if I want to start collecting cards this summer, if I'm 8 or 10 years old,
Yep.
am I looking to get Tops or Fanatics or Bowman or something else?
So right now there's two main manufacturers. You have Topps, and then you have the company called Panini. Topps, under their brand name, has Bowman. It's got the regular Topps. It's got Heritage. It's got a bunch of brands similar to a
Okay.
car dealership,
Okay.
where they're going to have different models. Panini, the same thing. They own Dunros, if you've heard of that, and some other names.
Could you
But they
just
all have
repeat
different
what? Could
price
you
tiers.
repeat? Could you repeat what's the name of the parent though? Pina
Panini.
Panini. How do you spell that?
Panini, I
Okay,
believe.
Panini.
Yeah,
Okay, never really
Panini.
heard of that. Okay, so go
Well,
ahead. They
because
have done.
they don't do anything under their name like the Tops does. They
Okay,
do everything as Prism, there's different companies they use as their brand names. But
okay,
Dunruss, a lot of people have heard of Dunruss. Has been around
sure.
for decades. They're owned by Panini, so they all have different price tiers. I tell people don't buy above your point, but it's okay to either go after a pack, a box, or a specific card. Whatever you like and whatever you can afford. There's no wrong way to go about it. Just don't buy expensive just to buy expensive.
That's my question. If I'm, again, we can be talking to different age groups, but if I'm 8 years old to 14 years old and I got an allowance and maybe I do some odd jobs around here and I get a little money, can that person who's just starting out use their wiles by starting to find prospects and stuff and buy something like you would, not a penny stock, but maybe instead of buying Apple that's selling for 700 or $1,000 a share, buy something that's a $4 stock or something like that by getting a Jeremy Pena last year or something like that.
You're 100% correct. And what the companies have done is they've created almost a two-tier system. So if you want to buy a Topps or Bowman, you can go to a major retailer, even like a Walmart or Target, and find it on the shelves. Now, that's not going to guarantee you as many good autographs, let's say, but you can still get something great. Now, you can go to a card shop, pay more for a box called a hobby box, and they'll give you more autographs. But what they've done is left something for the kids on the shelves at a fair retail price. And that's what I encourage
They
people.
don't want
Yeah,
them out of the market and disinterested. Right.
exactly. And I'll tell you, as a father of three kids, they've all been into cards at different degrees. They've been able to learn reading, math. We go to card shows and interpersonal social skills. So I can't say enough about getting kids into cards, whether it's Pokemon or sports cards. It's a
Okay.
fantastic hobby.
Okay. That's interesting. Um, so let's move to the local team here for a second, the Baltimore Orioles. Obviously, and we talked about it about a month, 6 weeks ago. Uh, Rutschman, his card last year at this time was still probably worth something pretty decent, right? What was it at then? And now, based on he's not going to win Rookie of the Year because I think Rodriguez, Julio Rodriguez had such a great year for the Mariners, but he proved he belongs. Has his card skyrocketed?
So there's two things that affect pricing the most, and that's performance and expectations.
Okay.
Adley's had expectations since he was drafted. So the moment his rookie card came out, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Stan, I couldn't afford it the day it was released. I mean, it was already, people were paying, off the charts. The guys like Jeremy Pena are where I could make some money. But Adley, I mean, similar to Jackson Holiday, when his card comes out, he's not going to be a secret to anybody. So
Right.
I mean, that card's going to come out, and people are going to pay top dollar right off the bat.
That top
But
dollar, $200 when his rookie card comes out, is realistic or more?
well, there's different versions. Some are more limited. The limited ones will get to 1,000, if not 10,000, on some of these guys. It's really unbelievable.
Even
The
at this point, before they've proven themselves as major leaguers. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little absurd, but yes.
So when you're talking Orioles, am I talking Jordan Westberg or DL Hall? Well, DL Hall's got a little bit more expectation already. Colton Cowser, or is Colton Cowser already out of the price range?
Well, you and I talk, minor leagues all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people live off the top 100 lists that are put out by the different media outlets, the Baseball America, the Pipeline, and those top 100 lists almost dictate the value of the card market.
Okay.
Once somebody hits that list, it's like a stock getting good press. So you want to try to find the guys before they hit that top 100 list or before they move to the top of the team's top 30 or top 10 list. So right now for the Orioles, I actually think even Heston Kjerstad's undervalued, and he should in the Arizona Fall League. Maybe he's back to that first round type of pick, but his value obviously has been way down. But I'll look at a guy like Darrell Hernandez, who they actually have a rookie card for. He was a
Right.
5th round pick out of high school in 19. And I happen to like him, and it's an affordable card. For a kid to be out of high school and have a 340 on base percentage and finish the year in Double A, to me, that's worth taking a chance on.
How about the other shortstop, Ortiz?
Yeah, Ortiz, he has nothing splashy. He does
Okay.
not have the hobby respect quite yet. Now, there's another phenomenon. If he gets traded for a big name, like in a
Right.
Pablo Lopez trade, well, now everybody in the country is going to go, "Who is this guy?" He must be significant, and that will help the value.
Uh, what question outside? So wait a minute. Grayson Rodriguez going into next year, already off the charts.
Yes, but if you believe in him, the injury lowered his value at the end of last year. I think going into next year, it's going to be back up because those expectations, when he gets to spring training and is throwing near 100 and, looks like that top of the rotation guy again, I think the prices will go back up. But if you like Grayson and you want to invest, actually now's the perfect time.
Okay.
But
One more
yes, super
question.
expensive.
One more question about cards, and then just a couple more minutes on a couple other things. So if I'm a kid, or I'm the father of a kid, and I said like in 1985, so I was like 33 years old. My buddy said, "Hey, you want me to get you a box of Topps cards?" Is that the way to go each year? Is to buy a box set, or are we still at the point where you can go to the store and buy a pack and you get 6 or 8 cards or 10 cards with a piece of bubble gum? You used to get the bubble gum, but or is the way to go the box set?
Well, first of all, they do sell the old packs, and so if you buy one with the bubble gum, do not eat the bubble gum. Uh, you can still find them out there, and the bubble gum's still in there, so don't eat that. But
Okay.
it changed. So growing up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, there was only one set. There was one set of tops. Every guy basically had one card. There was no alternative versions. There was no different color card or different numbered or all these different things. So you could buy that set and know you had every card in the set, and that was kind of locked in. In the 80s and 90s, they printed so many of them, it didn't matter if you had a set. They were printed, millions at a time.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
now
me.
there's
The guy.
some
That's when I got into it. When
exactly. You should have done it when you were 5. You'd be,
right. Well, I
um,
did, but my mother threw them away when I was 12.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, I know. We'd all be
So
millionaires, right?
right, exactly. So now there's so many different versions of the cards. There's not even one set to buy because they'll print them and maybe they'll only make a version where there's one card. Then they'll make the same card, but they'll make it numbered out of 10 or numbered out of 200. And so there's all these different versions. So what a lot of people are doing now is they're actually targeting specific cards instead of trying to buy a whole set. Or they're buying the boxes that we talked about that are still sealed, and they're leaving them sealed and saving those because the potential of something in there being good, exists.
So what we're talking about is that these card companies over the years have gotten increasingly sophisticated
Oh yeah.
at creating markets for their product. It's not unlike an artist that does a picture like a charcoal. I mean, he's a well-known artist. He does a charcoal of Danny Black, 1 of 10,
Yep.
and he does 10 of them. And then
Yep.
suddenly he's got 10 of the same product.
But the original's the 1 of 1, which will go for so much more.
Right.
And that's what's happening. So exactly, if a series is limited, there's always going to be more value for the lower number, and that's what's happening right now. So like I have a Jordan Westberg rookie, and I have it one that's out of 299. So that one is going to be worth more, or I'm sorry, out of 250. There's a version out of 499, so I'll be worth more than that. And there's a version out of 199, I won't be worth quite that much. So it falls right into that kind of slotting system. Yeah.
When you said earlier you like to help people, I'm not saying you're going to spend inordinate amounts of time, but do you like helping young kids learn about this?
One of my favorite things. Because I have a lot of product that is not very expensive
Right.
financially, but I think it's important to get into the hands of kids. I actually donated 30,000 cards to a local card shop to give away to children. I think it is crucial. I love educating kids on it. I'm probably the nosy guy at the card shop who will tell you about the card right after you open it. I could do it all day. My son is into Pokemon, so unfortunately, I'm no help to him because I know nothing about Pokemon. But for sports cards, yeah, no, I do love it. And actually, I love educating adults.
Yeah.
One of my good old friends recently got back into cards, and we spent some hours together. And that was a blast, just educating him on what the card world is like now.
Yeah. It's gotten crazy. So let me ask you, in wrapping up today, and we're going to be doing this in an ongoing fashion. Everybody keeps talking about how big the sports card market is. How big is it actually? Is it quantifiable? And are you surprised how it's grown so fast, Danny?
Well, it yes, because when I started, I mean, a whole different world. I mean, it just
And you
it's
started roughly 25 years ago to a certain extent.
25 to 30 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I started before I could drive when my parents had to drive me to the show, and I would set up my display cases and they would come back and pick me up at the end of the show. But yeah, it's changed so dramatically. Right now, the market is in the billions. But what's amazing is the financial analysts have it as a $49 billion industry within 10 years. When you talk about investment firms like Blackstone and these major companies, they're investing in these companies. Um, the all the major sports leagues own 5 billion shares of Fanatic stock. So there's huge money behind all of this. eBay sells
What is Fanatics? Does it trade over the New York Stock Exchange?
right now. It's private.
It's private.
Everybody's waiting for them to go public. The owner just had to divest his ownership of the Sixers, Michael Rubin, and
Okay.
the Flyers, just so there was no issues there. But yeah, no, I mean, you're getting to a place where eBay, to give you an idea, sells 2 cards a second.
Right.
Think about that. Two cards a second.
Okay.
Every second year round. And that's just in the
They
sports
just sold
market.
12 cards in the time we talked about that. It's up to 18 now.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's just in the sports cards market.
Yeah.
That doesn't count memorabilia or tickets, which are a hot item, and all sorts of stuff.
All right. Lots we can talk about as we move onward and upward. Again, he's Danny Black of Baltimore Sports Collectibles. Google at sportsbalt.com. You'll get his contact information if you want him to talk to you and start a dialogue about possibly helping move something you own or selling it to Danny, or he'll help you get it sold. All right. We appreciate it, Danny. And you'll be doing content with us. You got an interesting topic. Just quickly tell everybody about the topic you're writing on.
Well, if you've ever heard of fractional or assets, or when a bunch of people go in and buy a horse together, well, now you can do that with baseball cards. And I'm going to be writing an article for Pressbox, and we're going to be talking about this in the future. And my past articles are up at Pressbox online, so you can read them there as well.
All right, pressboxonline.com. He's Danny Black. Danny, we thank you for your time. Okay.
Thank you so much,
and
my
get
friend.
out to the Costas Inn and get some crabs.
I will, on my way to the basketball game tomorrow.
All right. Don't take the crabs to the basketball game. Maybe a crab cake. Maybe a crab cake. All right. Costas Inn is our sponsor on these talks. Let's see. Tonight is Wednesday. I'll be back next week. Ross and I will have something on Monday night. Then Wednesday at 4:00, I'll be talking to one of the chief executives, CEOs at Live Casino Hotel, and that's Joe Weinberg, about the up and coming sports betting that's going to go legal on your devices. You can do it from home or on your phone driving around. Right after you order from the Costas Inn, you can use your phone to bet on a game. We'll also talk on Thursday night, 7:00. John Martin, who's the director of the Maryland Lottery, will be with us. Director of the Maryland Lottery and sports gaming of the state of Maryland. That's it for today. See you soon. Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye.